Hello and welcome to day 18 in this quest for a 2000 rating on chess.com. All right, let's find an opponent today. I'll play another 15-minute game. And here we go. We have the white pieces. And they aborted the game. All right, we will try again. It figures I had the white pieces. Okay. All right, waiting for an opponent, and here we go again with the white pieces. Okay, a Sicilian. All right, well, here we go. Sometimes the Sicilian can be crazy. All right. I think I will block the path of that bishop, and I'm a little unfamiliar with the best options here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and capture that. And normally you don't want to give up your bishop pair, but I'm playing a line of the Sicilian that's new, and I'm still going to have to learn. So, all right. Well, now, let's see. What would be best here? Just to go ahead and castle. Well, guess we'll just try that. See what they do. All right. We'll go ahead. We got to be careful here because that diagonal of this bishop. All right, how about All right, we'll go there, see what they decide to do. We want to try and knock out this bishop, like trade their bishop off. Anyway, we want to create a battery, get our queen up here, try and attack this bishop, trade it off. But they need to move this knight out of here first. So what will they do? Push forward here. All right, so they are really checking things out, trying to figure out what to do. I guess we could even push forward here as well with our D pawn. We also might have to worry about this bishop coming down possibly pinning our knight to our queen. I mean, I guess if he attacks us, we can go here, try and chase him away, but we might have to watch out for this bishop lining up on the c3 pawn, especially if he tries to bring a queen in here from the other angle. You know, it may be a rook lining up here down this half open b file. And, you know, I don't think if the queen moved here, if I put the queen on a4 and threaten a fork, I don't know if that would do much. All right. Well, I guess I'll go there. All right, so now they're just trying to knock our bishop out. Okay. Well, we don't want to allow that. So we'll go there, see what they do. And there could be a little trick. If he attacks us and then we back away and then he attacks us again, we could capture no, that wouldn't work because the bishop is guarding that knight. All right. So we will have to retreat here. All right. All right, and then we'll just kick his knight away. You know, if he keeps pressing forward. All right, so we will attack his knight. Okay, now what do we do? Go after his knight. Double his pawns up. We'll go ahead and do that. All right. Now, okay. If we attack this and he moves forward, okay, that won't do much. All right, all right. Well, we need to get this knight going here. So, guess we're going there. We'll threaten to check him and keep his king stuck in the center. problem is going to be, he'll probably castle and then have a line here, this half open F file. All right, well, if we check him, he could block. All right, where do we want this knight? If we go here, see, if we go here, check, he blocks with his bishop. We could move back to here. But what does that accomplish? All right, we probably need to move this knight up. If we go here, 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 here maybe, or here, here, no, go up to here. All right, let's move that knight. So our one bonus is that we have a knight in this closed position here. So we probably, well, I don't know, it could break open in a hurry. I want to get my knight up here, possibly to F5. This could be a long, slow maneuvering game unless he just starts pushing his cluster of pawns forward. All right. All right. All right. What will they do next? Oh, sorry. Hope I'm not putting you to sleep as well. All right, I'm just trying to figure out what to do next. So at least they're grinding their time down. Our plan will be to try and get this knight to F1, then jump to E3, and then maybe have an option to keep an eye on this a little bit. Jump up here, possibly. But we probably need to move this bishop. So maybe move this pawn up here to F3. Try and get our G pawn up here to G4. And I guess they're really trying to figure out what to do here. All right. Well, at least they're burning off a lot of time because we're probably going to have a lot of maneuvering in this game. Okay. So I don't know what they're trying to figure out. I mean, maybe they don't know what to do with their king. They could castle, but they have pushed these pawns forward pretty good, and I don't know. But I don't know. I'm thinking that castling's probably what they should try and do. They don't want to push their pawns and start breaking things open with the king in the middle. So probably castle kingside. You wouldn't really want to castle over here where it's open. Even though they push their pawns forward, they do have their bishops to help guard them. All right. Well, as we wait here, see what they do. Maybe they're thinking about leaving their king in the middle. I mean, maybe they could swing their king or just move their king over here to d7 behind all these pawns, and they'd be relatively safe. And I'm surprised they're taking this long to try and figure out what to do. All right. Well, in positions like this where there's just a lot of pawns everywhere blocking everything up, the knights are usually a little bit stronger. But my opponent does have the bishop pair, and when your opponent has a bishop pair and you do not, it's usually a good idea to try and trade off one of those bishops. So maybe if I can get another my g-pawn up here and then position my knight up to f5, perhaps he would try and knock it out with his bishop, and then I could capture with my g-pawn up here. All right. I'm surprised they're taking this much time. I wonder if something happened and they're not able to finish their game. Either that or they're really calculating something. All right. I don't know. I have a feeling they might let the game run out and not continue. But they still have 5 minutes left. Okay. Well, what are their options? They could try and castle over here to the king side. The rook would have some pressure down the half open f file, so I would probably push this f pawn up here, but then maybe at some point they could try and push their g and h pawns to attack along with the rook on the f file. Plus, if I try to get my knight to f1 and back up to e3, and eventually up to f5, and then maybe even keep a little eye on d5. I don't know, that takes some time, and I have to watch out for this bishop aiming down the center of the board. If they attacked with d5, and then what do I do if they push that d pawn forward, because I need to watch out if I capture, and it's probably not good having this rook lined up with the bishop up here, even though there's a lot of pawns in the way at the moment. All right, this is kind of crazy. They're going down to 3 minutes, so I don't know. I'm thinking they're not going to continue this game here. So they have good areas for the rook to move to, both rooks. They can move to the half open F file, the half open B file. I mean, they do have kind of a messed up pawn. We have one pawn island for the moment until we start trading, and they have 3, and then they have an isolated pawn here, these doubled pawns. So we do have some positives in the position. I guess one plan could be to go up to c4, then back it up with b3. If he pushes forward, do we ignore that, or do we capture and break it open? Well, I guess if he pushes forward, I don't know. That's kind of tricky. Probably need to get f3 in. Because I'm thinking, if they push forward and we capture, we might have the bishop and the queen lined up on e5. But in the meantime, if he pushed the pawn to d5 and we captured, if he captured with a bishop, well, then we'd have to take time out to defend this g pawn. All right, so I don't know. It looks like they're not going to play, and they're just going to let their clock run out. So maybe they just really didn't like this congested position. Yeah, sorry there wasn't more action in this game, everybody. But at least we get a win out of it. And, well, I better not speak too soon. What if in the next 30 seconds they just start blitzing out a bunch of moves? Well, hopefully not. All right. Yeah, well, it looks like they're just going to let their clock run down. Okay, well, I guess a win is a win. And, yep. Okay, well, I wish they would have just resigned. Maybe something happened and they had to leave and they weren't able to get back to the game. Hopefully they were not playing at work and they got busy at work and left the game. All right, well, we'll do a quick game review and just see what we can learn from what we did play of the game. All right. So the computer is calculating. It looks like we played at a 93.4 and they played at 95.5 with only 1 inaccuracy. We had 2 inaccuracies, but we didn't get very far in the game, so it's a little bit easier to play at a higher accuracy rate when there aren't as many moves that you can go wrong with. All right, let's see here. So this was the Sicilian defense, and let's see, was it the Rossolimo variation? But I'm not familiar with this, so I'm gonna have to do more research since I'm playing new opening book lines, and I haven't really had many games with this variation. But the Sicilian e4, c5, and then a lot of times you'll play knight to f3, and then black has many different options. I used to just play the open Sicilian, but now I'm trying to play this bishop to b5 move in more games. All right, so moving on, I captured, and maybe that wasn't good to give up the bishop pair. Let's see. And it went through the entire game already, so I guess it wasn't very many moves. And it said you had a pretty competitive game there. Your opponent played better than you in the opening, but it was an incredible middle game by both of you. So I played at a 2200 level and they played at 2300. So yeah, if I can keep have more games like that at this level, hopefully I'll reach 2000. But I don't know, this game wasn't fair. They just, I don't know, quit playing for whatever reason. Opening accuracy 90.9 to their 96.6, and then middle game 97.3 to their 93.5. So we outplayed them a little bit in the middle game, but then they played better in the opening. All right, so let's take a look at the analysis and just see what was going on. We only went 15 moves into this game. Well, we'll also see what the computer says, how the game may have continued. All right, let's see here. So I play e4. They play c5. The Sicilian defense, counter-attacking, opening. A lot of times it can lead to crazy tactics in the Sicilian, but it depends on what type of Sicilian it is. So knight to f3 is played to get ready to possibly push the d-pawn forward, although you don't have to do that because that can lead to open Sicilian games, and a lot of crazy tactics can happen in those open Sicilians. So they play knight to c6 here. So the computer says the best move is knight to c3 or bishop to b5, which is what I end up playing here, bishop to b5. And now the computer's thinking, it says e6 is a good move, which would help with a d5 pawn push, and that's a common theme in the Sicilian. Usually if black can get d5 in, it kind of helps to equalize the game. It kind of relieves some of the cramped position that black usually has in the Sicilian. But in this game they played g6, which is, let's see, the Rossolimo Fianchetto variation. All right, so now the danger could be this pawn or this bishop just lining up down the diagonal. So I play c3 to immediately stop action by this bishop to fire down this diagonal towards my queen side. This move kind of blunts things. It could possibly help with a push of the d-pawn. And the computer, let's see what it recommended there. It said that I should play knight to c3 or castle, or even d3. So at this point, I'm slightly ahead, and after this move, it's about even. A hair in black's favor. All right, so now this move, it looks like it swings the game back in white's favor. What did the computer prefer? It says that knight to f6, attacking here immediately, would be better. All right, bishop develops. We capture. And it says that's good, but now the game's about even again. Better would have been an immediate d4. All right, so capture. And it says better would have been to capture with the d-pawn to give the queen and the bishop an opening. and also prevent this isolated pawn over here. But now we have d3, and it says that's good, but the game is in black's favor slightly now. Better would have been to just go ahead and castle. And now d6. So that's an excellent move. Black is still ahead, but once again it wants knight to f6, developing the knight. He probably played d6 because now he can develop the knight, not worry about me attacking it. So now bishop to e3. That is an inaccuracy. Once again, it wants me to castle. So the knight moves in, and better would have been rook to b8 to immediately attack this pawn here. And that's what I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to develop here with the rook on the half open b file and just start putting pressure down here. But here I play queen to d2, and that's an inaccuracy. Once again, it wants me to castle. So this also allows him to attack my bishop. I don't want to give up the bishop pair, so I move here, and that's the best move. He plays the best move attacking my bishop. I run. He continues the attack, although it prefers castling. So I just retreat. And now this move, f6. So this puts the game back slightly in white's favor now. Better would have been just to retreat the knight. So f6. And now it's saying h3 is the best move for white, but I was trying to see if would I get anything out of, well, if I move this, he would have time to move something. I was seeing if I could trap his knight, but if I go here with d4, he could just move something, maybe this h pawn, to make an escape hatch for the knight. All right, h3, the computer says, is best. Now white is slightly in the lead or ahead here. The knight retreats, and now capturing the knight is best with the knight and not the bishop. So we capture, and now it's saying it's better with the bishop to capture. So I guess the computer is a little bit confused here, because here it's saying bishop captures is not as good. All right, so knight captures, pawn captures towards the center, which is best. Now the game is even. So I play queen to e2, thinking maybe I could check him here on h5 if he doesn't castle. But knight to a3 would have been a better move. So knight to a3. From there, where do I go? Do I swing back to c4 or even c2 and then jump to e3, and keep an eye on f5 and d5? All right, so now after this move, now if I check the king, he can just block with the bishop and chase my queen away. And it says that is the best move in the position. So I reposition this knight, and it says that's excellent, but a3 would have been better. So now the bishop develops to f6. Oh, okay, and so already the game ended. If we go back one, right here the game ended. My opponent just let the time run out. So the computer says the game may have continued with the bishop developing here would have been best, and then the knight jumping up here. But what is this knight accomplishing up here? Just tempting the bishop to capture you and double your pawns, I guess. Then the king moving into this little fortification. I mentioned that move earlier while we were playing, that was a possibility of the king staying in the middle here. And now it's saying I should go ahead and castle. But I don't know. These pawns are already advanced. The rooks and the queen could line up here and start firing pawns down towards my king side. And so here we go. The queen lines up on the king. It also creates a battery with queen and bishop on this knight. So my queen will have to stay here and guard. If my queen moved and did not protect this line, the bishop could capture. Then pawn captures, then the queen could capture if my queen doesn't guard this. So rook to b1 is what the computer recommends. Then here come the pawns. And pushing on this side here. So, and anyway, this is what the computer recommended, how the game could have continued. But anyway, maybe my opponent got busy, had to leave, or who knows, perhaps they had some issues, or they just didn't like this position, because this would probably be a long, slow game, where we would have to try and start trading pawns to get down to some action. Okay, everybody. Well, I won't drag the video out any longer. I apologize for not having more excitement since my opponent just resigned. But, a win is a win, I guess. And if you stuck around for the entire video and the game review and analysis, I thank you. Please feel free to leave comments or suggestions. Like and subscribe for those that haven't already. Feel free to put in requests as well for future video topics, and I'll try to get to those at some point. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and have a super chess day.